This YCN segment is brought to you by M.J. Harrington and Company, jewelers and designers since 1948.
Welcome back, YCN Sports Talk. Jeremy Stout, Brett Franklin from 94 ESPN Radio. And Brett, we were on your show on Tuesday, I was on, and you can always catch that show 12 to 1, Monday through Friday, 94.3 in Claremont, 94.5 in White River Junction. And Brett, we talked about Patriots hadn't made any moves, and they're the last team to always sign players, it seems like, and then in the last 24 hours making some moves, and they'll slowly get back into it.
Early as this morning, NBC Sports Boston, Tom Curran reporting that Jason McCourty is going to return with the New England Patriots. There were some questions whether or not he was going to step aside after winning a championship with his brother Devin McCourty. Patriots also bringing back Brandon Bolden, signing him to a two-year deal. They tendered cornerback Jonathan Jones as well. And so kind of a quiet start for the Patriots, but I'm not surprised. This is something we talked about that was kind of dominating the show today on our airwaves was, how involved would the Patriots be in this free agency period? But the way money's being thrown around here in this early free agency period, I just don't see the Patriots getting involved in that sense. So, Earl Thomas has been a name that's been thrown around. I mean, he signed a huge deal with the Ravens earlier today. Are the Patriots willing to spend $14 million a year on a secondary guy? That's what the market's looking like right now. I just don't see that happening. Golden Tate has been a name that's been thrown around a lot for the New England Patriots, but unless he's willing to take a pay cut, I don't see him coming to New England. He's going to demand a lot of money, and I just think the way free agency is starting out so far, and even just kind of some mid-level guys getting some big-time deals. I mean, Trey Flowers is a great player. Don't get me wrong for the New England Patriots.
Right,
but is he worth
money?
5 years, $16 million a year? If I'm the Patriots, and again, you would think some teams are thinking to themselves, if the Patriots aren't willing to spend money on this guy, why should we? But then again, it's been 19 years and teams can't figure that out.
Can't figure it out. Now, keeping in the AFC East, obviously the big signing, New York Jets signing Le'Veon Bell. They have some players. They've got some pieces. Obviously, a young quarterback. Are they on the move, or is it another thing where too much money paid to a guy who might not make enough of a difference?
Yeah, I think it moves the needle. I know it's
tough to give you credit give Jets credit. I know it's tough.
Moves the needle a little bit. I think if you're a Jets fan, you have to be happy. You have to be excited. But you have to ask yourself for Le'Veon Bell, was it worth it? I mean, he's only going to get $12 million a year, where he held out wanting $16 million. That's left to be determined. Again, if you're the Jets, you're happy. You've got another option. You've got the run game. I think Jets were 26th in the league in rushing last year, so it'll help. But how much has Bell sitting on the bench, how much has him not being active here going to hurt him moving forward? And again, how does he fit in with Adam Gase's offense? And they were pretty run-heavy in Miami the last couple of years, but that was just by default because they didn't have a quarterback. What happens when Le'Veon doesn't get his touches? What happens when they start losing? That's going to be the other question. I think it's a good look now, but I don't think it moves the needle a ton as far as challenging the Patriots in the AFC East.
And as one superstar, Le'Veon Bell, comes to New York, one leaves, Odell Beckham Jr. He's gone to Cleveland, and obviously in the coming weeks, we'll be breaking down more free agency, and then obviously the draft coming up as well as we get into that offseason that starts getting a little hot stove in the NFL.
It's time for the Salt Hill Pub Picks of the Week. Salt Hill Pub, honest food, perfect pints, live music, now here to serve you in 5 locations.
Welcome back, Salt Hill Pub Picks of the Week. We broke down the National League Central earlier. Now we'll make our picks. So, Brett, we'll start off with you. Who do you have in the number 5 spot, NL Central?
I'll go with the Reds. It's the Reds, I think most...
They made some improvements.
They did make a little improvements. But, I think just as far as being a young club and trying to really find their identity right now is the biggest thing for Cincy, but they'll come in last.
Right. It was close, but I took the Pirates as my number 5 team. Like I thought, the Reds did make some improvements, but basically these 4 and 5 teams I think can be switched. It doesn't really matter. So who do you have as number 4?
Yeah, I'll go with the Pirates. I mean, they were competitive last year. They do have a little bit of young talent, but, again, it's the Pirates, and again, they'll be at the bottom. Again, I don't think there'll be too much difference between them and the Reds, like you said.
Yeah, I agree with you, and that's why I'm going to put the Reds at number 4. I think really this is the top 3 teams, and we'll get to that now. Who do you have as number 3?
Number 3, I'll go with the Brewers. Again, I just think their window was last year. I think the Cardinals will be better. The Cubs are going to be better. And again, the Pirates and the Reds will compete. But I'll have the Brew Crew. I think their window was last year. They'll finish there, maybe competing for a second wild card.
Right. I agree with you there. I think the Brewers finished 3rd. That bullpen was great. They've got the pieces back, but you just never know if they're going to be as dominant as they were. They got some offense, but when you're competing with Cubs and Cardinals, I think you're just a half a step below both those teams. I agree with you. They might compete for the wild card. Who do you have finishing 2nd?
I'll go with the Cardinals. I think they will compete for a wild card spot this year. I think Goldschmidt will make a difference. Yeah. I think the new manager will make a difference. I think there's some new energy in St. Louis. I have the Cards at number 2.
I agree with you there. I take the Cardinals 2nd. Goldschmidt, like you said, they've got the pieces in place to challenge. I think they make a wild card spot, but they finish behind the Cubs. And who do you have, obviously, as your number 1?
Yeah, Cubs must win for Madden and company. If they don't, I think Chicago will blow the whole thing up. Last chance for them to get something going here. I do think they win the division. 90 wins.
All right, I agree with you, obviously. Cubs, they got the talent. After their World Series, they've kind of sputtered around. They're not terrible, but this is, you're right, the year that they need to make something happen. Winning does raise the expectations, and I think the Cubs have a lot of expectations. So there are the NL Central. Thanks to Brett Franklin from 94 ESPN Radio. You can always catch his show online at 945ESPN.com. Thanks for watching YCN Sports Talk.